a source for positive mental stimulation and good vibes, filled with encouragement, inspiration, scripture, and affirmations. It's uplifting the world in support of peace, strength, wisdom, and faith. All information and resources are based on the research and opinions of the host, unless otherwise noted. All information is intended to motivate, encourage, and inspire positive change and a healthier lifestyle. This is Inspire Hour, and I'm your host, Tony Williams. Hi, guys, and welcome back to this week's edition of Inspire Our podcast. Hopefully, your week last week was productive as well as blessed. I'm going into this week, and this week is the week of Christmas. So, hopefully, everyone will try and enjoy some family time. Now, this week's episode is titled It Could Be Worse. What do I mean by that? This year has been very rough for everyone, and so many has went through some very challenging times, and I would like everyone to know that it could be worse. Some might not understand why I say that, and some might. It could be worse because although we have went through this pandemic loss, a lot of loss we've lost family, some people have lost their homes, their jobs, even friends. There's been a lot of loss. Even though we all have suffered loss, it still could have been worse. We could have all lost our lives. With the way things are changing, with war and disease and the lack of compassion that has been stifling the human race, the world could have flew off into the sun or imploded, or it could have been a war that ended us all. So with that being said, we have to find the silver lining, if you will, of everything that we have been enduring. And just the fact that we are enduring shows us that we have some resilience. We are stronger than we may sometimes feel. So it really could have been worse. Now, I've been hearing a lot and seeing different videos and things of that nature where a lot of parents have been doing some complaining about their children not being in school and being at home doing distance learning instead of being, in a traditional classroom. I've heard a lot of complaining concerning that. Well, in that instance, it could be worse. You could have lost your children to COVID or violence or illnesses or diseases. So instead of complaining about them being home 24/7, let's try and use that time to love on them, to teach them, and to hold them, and definitely explain to them what's going on. Let's not sugarcoat, but explain to them what's going on, and so they have the reality of it. It is hard on them, if not harder, than it is for the parents. It's a lot about this pandemic that they don't understand, and it can bring up feelings of stress and anger and just send them on an emotional roller coaster. They're trying to adapt to this as well. They're not being able to see their friends. They're not, a lot of them are not able to go outside and play like they want or like they have become accustomed to with their friends on the playground and, at the parks and birthday parties and all the things that the festivities that take place throughout the year that they normally celebrate together in school with their friends. It's difficult for them as well. So us as adults and parents, let's not complain about them being home 24/7 or that you have to cook for them 24/7 or that they're needy and need you for this or want to conversate with you or want your attention. Let's accept and adjust and work through it because it could be worse. We could lose our children, and that would be worse. Now, for those who have had to bring their parents into their home, and it may be a difficult situation caring for an adult parent or even relative, it can be rough, but again, it could be worse. We could have lost those relatives that we have to take in. So that's something that we should keep in mind. I know it can be a tough journey at the moment, giving our parents care when usually they're in a facility or something like that, or even them not being able to be in their own home. It's an adjustment for them as well. And it's rough on us all pertaining to that. And let's not complain about it. Let's not be ugly or frustrated or attempting to give up and give out concerning having to take care of a loved one. And let's try and focus on learning what it is we can do to make the transition a bit easier. And I know for a lot of people who've taken in their parents, their elderly parents or loved ones, the facility used to do all of the care. And for a lot of people, I know it's difficult because you don't know how to care for them, bathe them, dress them, cook their diet-specific meals, administer their medication. So take the time, take a deep breath, and take the time to focus on getting it right versus the feeling of being overwhelmed and being angry or frustrated, because it's hard on them as well. They've come accustomed to being in a facility where everything was pretty much handled for them, from their care to their meals to transportation to doctor's visits. But take this time to really show them some love. Talk to them. See how they're doing. See how they're feeling. And also speak to them about what's going on. Try and put some of their fears at rest and kind of take away some of that anxiety that they're feeling. And it will make it less challenging for you. Because if they're all worked up and scared and frustrated and not understanding what's going on, that can translate into different type of behaviors that you may not be equipped to handle. So if you can calm those fears for them, that'll make it a bit easier for you. Read to them, talk to them, spend some quality time with them. A lot of parents have been in these facilities, and before the pandemic, we worked so much that we barely had the time to visit them at the facility. Here's your opportunity. Here's an opportunity to rekindle that bond. Reassure them that they are loved and that they are important. That they're not just a patient, that they're a loved one that you care dearly for. Talk, listen, understand, and encourage them as well. And in return, it will give you a greater sense of purpose, more of an understanding of that relative. And it just really solidifies that bond. Because it's very important. Because let's be honest, when someone goes out to the facility, you don't know when it's going to be their last breath. So use that time wisely, love on them, care for them, and it'll make you feel better as well. Just uplift each other, and you may learn something from them that maybe you didn't know before. So let's appreciate their wisdom. Comfort them, and it will be comforting to you. And it'll make the situation less stressful. Like I said, read to them, play music. If you're spiritual, read the Bible to them. Spend time watching a movie with them. Play cards or dominoes or something. It's almost Christmas time. Do a little decorating. Play some Christmas music. There are many things that you can do, different activities that will bring their mood up as well as yours. And just give your home a very happy and safe feeling. And like I say, you can benefit from that because it could be worse. No one wants worse, but it could be worse. Now, as far as those of you who have lost your jobs, let's stop and take a breath and think about this. How many times have we complained about having to get up and go to work? How many times have we said, oh, I can't stand this job? Or I don't make enough money on this job? Or I really wish I could switch jobs? Or this is not the field I really wanted to be in to begin with? Or even, I'm not enjoying this job. This is not where I want to be. Well, if you've lost your job and you've thought any of those things, here's your opportunity to change fields, change jobs. Especially if you disliked your job, or it was too stressful, or it took a toll on you, or it's simply time for a change. Think also it could be worse. You could be stuck on that job for the rest of your life because you can't find another job. Or just perhaps you could lose your ability to work. So instead of us complaining about the jobs that we have or the loss of the job, let's think positive. Think and speak positive. Now is my opportunity to go back to school, change my job. So let's just think positively about that, because it could be worse. And I know you might get tired of hearing me saying that during this episode, but it's true. Think back all the times we complained about so many different things. Our kids misbehaving. Our boss is a pain in the butt. We're not appreciated on this job. Or Or even in a marriage or relationship. This person acts like they don't understand me. It could be worse. That person could leave you. Your boss could fire you. It could be worse. In a relationship, you could be with someone who is abusing you. Now that's worse than maybe having an argument or disagreement here or there. It could be worse. Kids acting up, sit down and talk to them. Because it could be worse. You could lose them or lose them to gun violence or any of the other violence or even because of health issues. Could be worse. Or even those of us who say, oh my God, it is so boring. I'm bored. I'm used to going to this party, that party, or going to my friend's house, or meeting up with my coworkers after work and having a drink. It could be worse. You could lose your life or all those friends that you're saying you're so bored being stuck at home and want to go see you. It could be worse. You could be the one who is suffering from COVID, laying in a hospital alone with no family or friends around you. So think it could always be worse. And replace those thoughts with something more positive. Because we're all going through a lot of changes dealing with the pandemic and just day-to-day pressures of life. It could be worse. You start feeling like that, go for a walk, read a book, listen to an uplifting song, meditate. Call your friend if you're missing them. FaceTime. There are things that you can do instead of just complaining or just, I'm bored. Now's the time to find a hobby, learn something new, take an online class or course, go back and finish that degree that you started some years back. Learn a new trade. You are strong. You are persistent, so have some faith. Replace those negative thoughts or feelings with something positive to help you press forward. And remember, it could be worse. You lose your place to stay. There's someone who will take you in. You lose your car because you're behind on car payments. There's public transportation. Or even someone who's willing to take you. And if it's to an appointment or something, there's medical transportation. It could be worse. So let's continue to think positive, uplift yourself, keep your mood light, and just know what you say to yourself is what you live, stand on, and project. So let it be positive and empowering. And I know things seem limited right now, but it does not last forever. And look at it like this. When you think that you have it worse, look around. Someone else has it much worse. I was on YouTube the other day, scrolling through, looking at different videos, and I ran across one where these young adults were complaining about their parents. They were different ages, ranging from 18 to 22, and they were complaining that their parents seemed uninvolved or unsupportive, and just a lot of things that they were saying that their parents just didn't seem like they really cared. As a young adult, you have to understand that your parents are responsible for you from the time that you are conceived to the time that you are old enough and you leave home. After that point, yes, they are still there for you to a certain degree. You cannot expect for them to still do everything for you. You have to be gracious for what has been given to you, as well as what your parents are still trying to give. That's advice when you need it. It's unconditional love. And that is support. And you have to understand too that it could be worse. You could have lost your parents for any number of reasons, but you still have them. But they are no longer going to do everything for you or be overly involved in your life. This is the point of time where they give you space to make your own decisions and just to be supportive from a little bit of a distance. Because like I say, after a certain age, they're not obligated to be on the back of your heels, to hold your hand through every single thing. You now have room to make those adult decisions and, believe it or not, suffer whatever consequences that may come from those decisions. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. It just means they're giving you the space to be an adult. And when you need them, you can call them and say, hey, I need some advice. And trust me, they're going to be more than willing to give you that advice. So remember, before you, as a young adult, begin to complain, know that it could be worse. Parents are going to give you some tough love. They're parents. If you do something not right, yes, they're going to tell you, no, that was not wise. You should not have done that. But it does not mean that they love you any less or they support you any less. It just means that they're telling you the truth. They're being honest with you. They're being open with you. And they're being loving. Because there are some who really don't care what happens or what their child goes through at whatever age. So just keep in mind, it could be worse. It could be worse. That's the thought for this week. When you feel like everything's going wrong, nothing is going to get better, just remember, it could be worse. It could be worse. Now, here's a quote, a couple of quotes that I would like to share with you, and hopefully it helps you through this week. One is, work like you don't need the money. Love like you've never been hurt. And dance like no one is watching. And that quote is by Satchel Paige. And that's a very good quote. Now, the next one is, success is a journey, not a destination. And that's by Ben Sweetland. And here's one. This one is a little more known. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And that was by Franklin D. Roosevelt. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. And that's by Helen Keller. One last one. When you were born, you cried and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Now that's an Indian proverb. So for this week, think positive thoughts, believe in yourself and others, share hugs, spread love, and think it could be worse. You are loved, cherished, needed, and your life has purpose and meaning. Enjoy your life. Challenges only come so that they make us stronger. Until next week, be good. Love yourself and each other. You have been listening to On One Radio, the talk show podcast station. Thank you for taking time to listen to Inspire Our podcast. I wish you peace, strength, wisdom, and faith. And if you're searching for more, visit me over on my YouTube channel. The name over there is Tony On One. You can also find Inspire Hour on One Radio's Facebook page, as well as check out On One's Day One's private Facebook group. Podcasts are also available on most podcast sites and apps. And if you want to listen live and chat during a live broadcast, visit On One Radio over at Spreaker.com. We can also be found on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and WordPress. Until next time, have a blessed and productive day today.